I have a childhood friend who is so carefree, not all like a girl. She never cares about her image and is always either hitting me or yelling at me. But one day, she suddenly changed. She became very quiet and gentle. The way she looked at me was always filled with tenderness and shyness. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. I subconsciously stroked the head of the cat in my arms. And then, the cat spoke. Luo Tian, don't touch my head. At 3 in the afternoon, after a busy 8 hours, I finally got off work. I work in the baking industry with an 8-hour workday. It's not that it's exhausting, but the early shift at 5 or 6 every morning is a bit of grind. That day, I was walking home as usual when a sudden flash of white caught my eye. I turned to look and found a small, snow-white cat. However, I wasn't too concerned. Cats are quite common in this city. I continued walking, and seeing me go, the kitten quietly followed. Soon I was home. At the same time, I noticed the little cat that had been following me. Why are you following me? I don't have any money to buy you cat food. I assumed the kitten was following me because it was hungry. Meow. The kitten meowed and came over to rub against my leg. I smiled and picked it up. When I held the kitten in front of me, I noticed its blue eyes. They were beautiful and crystal clear. My mind couldn't help but drift to that girl born with heterochromia. One of her eyes was blue. I then took the kitten home. I figured it might have gotten separated from its owner, and it wouldn't be a problem for me to look after it for a few days. The kitten was very clean and had a unique scent, so I didn't wash it. To be honest, it was mostly because I'm lazy. Lying in bed, I opened my phone. There were no messages. The person pinned to the top of my WeChat hadn't messaged me in a long time. Normally, she'd pester me about every little trivial thing. After a moment's hesitation, I made a voice call. A minute went by, but no one answered. I hung up and opened a food delivery app to get something to eat. My gaze fell on the kitten nestled on my lap. Maybe I should buy some cat food? The thought popped in my head, and my fingers were already busy. The food delivery arrived quickly, a bowl of fried rice and a bag of cat food. I poured the cat food into a small bowl and set it in front of the kitten before starting on my own fried rice. I've ordered from every takeout place nearby and never know what to eat. Fried rice is cheap and filling, so it's my go-to when I can't decide. The kitten seemed uninterested in the cat food, instead staring intently at my fried rice. You want to eat this? I asked tentatively, not expecting any response. But to my surprise, the kitten actually nodded. You can understand what I'm saying? I asked again. The kitten nodded once more. I was astonished. Has this cat become some kind of spirit? I didn't dwell on it for long, though, and pushed the rest of the fried rice toward the kitten. The latter immediately started to wolf it down, as if it had been starving for days. Are you lost? Where's your owner? I asked again while it ate. Since this kitten could understand human speech, it shouldn't be hard to find its owner. The kitten lifted its head and shook it. You're not lost. The kitten nodded. Then what about your owner? The kitten shook its head. You don't know, or you don't have one. The kitten, apparently annoyed with my questioning, lifted its paw and made a 2 gesture. It meant the latter. This kitten didn't have an owner. I fell silent. This cat really must be a spirit. After the kitten was full, I tidied up a little and then started playing games. It was one of the few ways I relax. After playing a few matches, I opened WeChat again. She still hadn't messaged back. I had thought about inviting her to play, but given the circumstances, I decided to forget it. The sky grew dark. Because I have the early shift, I can't stay up late. I washed up quickly and went right to sleep. The next day at dawn, I was jolted awake by a blaring alarm. Fighting off sleepiness, I got up. Since it was summer, the sky was already quite bright at just past 5. I didn't see the kitten. Perhaps it had left. I didn't feel any particular emotion. We hadn't known each other long, after all. Even if the kitten had left, I had nothing to be sad about. Life goes on, and the daily grind requires an early start. While washing my face, I glanced at my phone. There was one new message. Why did you voice call? No reason. You hadn't messaged in so long, I thought you might be dead. Piss off. You're the one who's dead. This time, the reply was instant. I smiled. Same old hot temper. After chatting for a while longer, I went to work. The little cat seemed to only appear when I got off work. It would meet me on my way home, then accompany me while I ate and slept. My life became much better because of this little thing. By the way, since you don't have an owner, do you want to stay with me? The little cat seemed a little hesitant, but I ignored its reaction and started thinking of a name for her on my own. Oh, I don't even know if you're a boy or a girl yet. I grabbed the scruff of the kitten's neck and lifted it, my other hand already raising its lower body. Seeing this, the little cat struggled frantically. Although its face was covered in fur, I could see deep shame in it. A girl, I murmured thoughtfully. Seeing me lost in thought, the kitten quickly broke free from my grasp and looked at me with anger. Then it lay on the bed as if life had lost all meaning. How about Lawn May? I suggested. The kitten immediately gave me a confused look. It's a name. Can I call you Blueberry? I explained. The kitten shook its head. A white cat named Blueberry? Does that seem right? All right, it's decided then. I nodded with satisfaction. It just so happens that the first letters are L in him. Luotion. Luotion. Open the door. Today was my day off. I thought I could get a good sleep, but the urgent knocking forced me to get up and open the door. What are you freaking out about now? I looked helplessly at the exquisitely beautiful young woman in front of the door. Fair skin, rosy lips, and one black and one blue. I made her instantly recognizable. Muyujun, my childhood sweetheart. Well, Luo Tian, you've got some nerve talking to me like that. No, I wouldn't dare. Please come in, miss. I immediately backed down. Muyujun nodded in satisfaction. That's more like it. Then she threw herself onto the living room sofa without a care in the world, as if it were her own home. What are you here for? I poured Muyujun a glass of water and couldn't help but ask when I saw she had a suitcase with her. My house is being renovated, so I have nowhere to stay. I'll stay here for a couple of days, Muyujun said casually. I fell silent for a moment, not bothering to expose her clumsy excuse. I pointed to the only bedroom. Are you sure? Muyujun looked in the direction I was pointing, a thoughtful expression on her face. But she quickly came back to her senses. It's fine. Don't you work the morning shift? I'm on the night shift recently. You can sleep at night, and it's mine during the day. I don't mind if you don't, I said with a shrug, a look of indifference on my face. And so, Muyujun stayed with me. My good dream was ruined on my day off, and I had nothing to do. Want to go out for a walk? I asked, staring at Muyujun on the sofa. Muyujun was only 2 months younger than me. At 24, she had a curvy figure, and her pair of long, snow-white legs were captivating. No, isn't it nice to just lie here? Muyujun glanced at me, and, seeing me staring at her thighs, her eyes suddenly became playful. Luo Tian, do they look good? She asked with a smile in her voice. They're all right, average, I said, not meaning it. Muyujun suddenly moved closer, placing one foot directly on my leg. My eyelid twitched as a bad premonition grew in my heart. Little Luozi, call me big sister, and I'll let you touch them. Muyujun's voice was thick with temptation. If we hadn't grown up together, I might not have been able to resist. I pushed her foot off and said with feigned calmness, I'm not that perverted. I have my own legs, not interested. TSK, keep pretending, Muyujun said with a disdainful look. He made himself sound so righteous. If she hadn't known him since they were kids, she might have actually believed him. After that, Muyujun and I mostly reminisced about the old days. I didn't ask her why she hadn't contacted me for so long. She was here now, so asking that was meaningless. In the afternoon, Muyujun couldn't win against me and was dragged out of the house. Muyujun was very beautiful, and she turned heads everywhere we went. Of course, there were also many confident men who came up to ask for her contact information. Muyujun couldn't be bothered with them and simply held onto my arm, indicating that she was already taken. I was used to this. She always used me to ward off her unwanted suitors. She got her peace and quiet, but because of her, I had never been in a relationship. I had protested many times, but Muyujun would shut me up by saying that she hadn't been in one either. I took Muyujun to a snack street. She didn't like to buy clothes or jewelry, but she was very enthusiastic about food. She would even willingly buy a 50 yuan ice cream just to try it. Little Luozi, you get me, Muyujun said with an excited look on her face. Let's get this straight first. Only buy as much as you can eat. I'm not going to help you finish your leftovers today. I know. I have self-control, Muyujun said casually. Seeing her like this, I knew Muyujun hadn't taken it to heart at all. Sure enough, Muyujun went on a rampage through the snack street, buying a portion of everything that caught her eye. After taking a few bites, she would then toss it to me. I felt somewhat helpless. Many of the snacks Mu Yujun handed me were sweet treats, so cloying that I could hardly stomach them. Half an hour later, my hands were completely filled with the leftover snacks from Mu Yujun. Yujun, that's enough. I can't hold any more. I called out to stop Mu Yujun, who was about to buy some pig's trotters. She turned to look at me, a hint of displeasure in her eyes. Xiao Luozi, why aren't you eating? Do you dislike me now? The corner of my mouth twitched. I told you beforehand. And besides, how could I possibly finish all this? So you're saying it's my fault? I calmly nodded. Mu Yujun immediately puffed out her cheeks. I'll eat it myself. She snatched the small cake from my hand and glared at me as she took a fierce bite, as if she were biting into me. If you can't eat anymore, then don't. It's really uncomfortable to overeat. I looked at the sulking Mu Yujun with a headache. She kept on eating, one hand pressed against her stomach, clearly already stuffed. None of your business. I'll just eat until I burst. Mu Yujun retorted angrily. Hearing this, I forcibly took the snack from her hand. All right, enough sulking. Let's go home. No, I won't. I won't. Mu Yujun simply squatted down, refusing to budge no matter what. Only I knew she was too full to walk, because I often found myself in the same situation. Whether you want her or not, we're leaving. Before Mu Yujun could react, I pulled her up and directly hoisted her onto my back. What are you doing? The sudden movement startled Mu Yujun, and the strong masculine scent made her blush. Going home. Mu Yujun's voice was barely audible, her warm breath brushing against my neck. Her figure was exceptional, the soft pressure of her chest against my back. I felt somewhat feverish, my face growing warm. I'm sorry. What? I was puzzled. Why was she apologizing all of a sudden? Eating too much is so uncomfortable. You must have suffered a lot before, right? Mu Yujun buried her face in my neck, her tone filled with guilt. Not all. Boys have big appetites. This is nothing, I said with a smile. Mu Yujun didn't speak again. For two people who knew each other so well, my lie was utterly transparent. Soon, we arrived at my rented room. What are you looking for? Mu Yujun couldn't help asking curiously as she saw me glancing around. Looking for the cat. Cat. Mu Yujun's eyes flickered. Yes, I recently got one. Its name is Blueberry. Then why haven't I seen it in your room? Mu Yujun asked knowingly. I don't know. It only comes out in the afternoon and evening. That's strange. It is a bit strange, but it's very clever. It can understand human speech. I recounted Blueberry's intelligence in detail to Mu Yujun. After listening, she kept a smile on her lips and began to sway gently. Could you stop moving around? My body stiffened. Mu Yujun had no idea how captivating she was. The softness of her chest kept rubbing against my back. Our summer clothes were thin, and a nameless heat rose from my abdomen. What's wrong? Mu Yujun started to ask, but then felt my burning body temperature. Seeing my rapid breathing and flushed face, she immediately realized what was happening. Mu Yujun hurriedly got off my back, looking visibly flustered. Luo Tian, I didn't mean to. I didn't expect you to be so sensitive. Hearing this, I nearly spat out blood. So now it was my fault? After struggling to calm myself, we entered the rented room one after the other. It was already late, and I was ready to sleep. Glancing at Mu Yujun, who seemed somewhat at a loss, I teased. Aren't you going to work? Well, I'm off today. Mu Yujun's eyes darted around, her tone stammering. Then I don't care. You said it. I sleep at night. My smile deepened. Mu Yujun turned her head away and muttered softly. I never said you couldn't sleep. What did you say? Nothing. Just go rest already. Mu Yujun waved her hands repeatedly. In the end, I still let Mu Yujun sleep in my room. If my parents found out I'd left a girl with nowhere to sleep, they'd probably scold me to death on the spot. Words like, you deserve to be single forever, would absolutely pour out. I lay down on the sofa in the living room, closing my eyes to sleep. Meow. A cat's cry sounded as Blueberry leaped gracefully onto me. Blueberry, what did you run off to? I haven't seen you all day. I grabbed Blueberry, vigorously rubbing its snow-white fur with my large hands. Meow, meow, meow. Blueberry cried out in protest to my roughness. I sheepishly withdrew my hand and placed it on my chest. Time for bed. I have to get up early tomorrow. I quickly drifted off to sleep, my breathing gradually becoming steady. In the darkness, a blue mist slowly began to fill the air. Blueberry's eyes glowed, and its body began to grow, eventually transforming into a graceful and delicate figure. Mu Yujun, naked, lay on top of me, her eyes shimmering with an indescribable tenderness. She kissed my face, then held me tightly. A sweet smile played on Mu Yujun's lips as she drifted into a blissful sleep. My chest felt so heavy, as if a large rock was pressing down on it. Opening my eyes, I saw Blueberry lying quietly on my chest. No wonder it was so heavy. I got up, washed my face, and got ready for work. Mu Yujun's and my work schedules were perfectly misaligned, so much so that we barely saw each other for the next few days. Her scent lingered on my bed, and every time I went to sleep, an inexplicable feeling stirred within me. My mom sent me a message saying that I was getting older and it was time to find a partner and think about marriage. When I saw those words, the first person who came to mind was Mu Yujun. Childhood sweethearts, we knew each other inside and out. We were indeed a good match. It was another day off. Coincidentally, Mu Yujun was also off. A sense of excitement bubbled up inside me, but I didn't show it. It's a day off. Were you planning to go? I asked, feigning nonchalance. Mu Yujun's eyes twinkled, and she mentioned a place that unsettled me. Huayan Mountain Zoo. What made you think of going there? I tried to keep my voice calm. I just felt like it. Do you want to go? Mu Yujun said with a radiant smile. I had a feeling that Mu Yujun's smile held a hint of mischief and anticipation. Sure, I haven't been in a long time. It'll be nice to reminisce. I agreed. After breakfast, Mu Yujun and I took a taxi to Huayan Mountain Zoo. Speaking of this zoo, it brought back memories of our childhood. We were young then, about 10 years old. Our parents had taken us to the zoo together. The strange and wonderful animals filled us with excitement and curiosity. I asked why these animals had to be caged. My mom looked at the tiger in front of us, at a loss for whether to laugh or cry, because they're dangerous. Can I pet it? It's my first time seeing such a big cat. My eyes sparkled with excitement. Mu Yujun had the same reaction, and we both looked at our parents with anticipation. Of course, the answer was no. It would have been one thing if it were a small, non-aggressive animal, but even an adult wouldn't dare to get close to a fierce beast like a tiger. If something were to happen, the consequences would be unimaginable. Dejected by the refusal, we weren't very enthusiastic about the rest of the tour. Children are mischievous, and Mu Yujun and I were the most mischievous of all. We used the excuse of going to the bathroom to slip away from our parents, then ran out through another exit. Free from parental supervision, Mu Yujun and I naturally let loose and played. We returned to the tiger enclosure we had been longing for. At that moment, the tiger was being fed. Our eyes lit up, and we seized the opportunity to get closer to the tiger. After the zookeeper left, Mu Yujun and I leaned against the protective fence and waved at the tiger. Fortunately, the tiger saw us and slowly walked over. However, as the tiger got closer, we realized something was wrong. This big cat was too big. I felt like its head was as big as my entire body. Soon, the tiger reached the protective fence. Its huge, beastly eyes stared at us, and even though it didn't make a move, Mu Yujun and I were terrified. Roar! The tiger let out a soft growl, which in my eyes was no less than the roar of a monster. Mu Yujun hid directly behind me, peeking out with one eye, wanting to look but not daring to. Do you still want to pet it? You go first, I stammered. No, you first. You go first. And so, we started deferring to each other. Seeing that we weren't giving it any food or interacting with it, the tiger prepared to leave. I panicked. We had finally made it back here. We couldn't leave empty-handed. I reached a hand through a gap in the protective fence and managed to touch the tiger's rear. Roar! The tiger let out a loud roar, turned around, and slammed its paw against the protective fence. The tremendous sound made me stumble backward. Looking at the tiger's fierce eyes, I fell to the ground and played dead. That's how they always got away on TV. The method worked. The tiger roared once more and then turned and walked away. But I still didn't dare to get up, afraid the tiger would make a comeback. Mu Yujun panicked when she saw me fall. She rushed to my side and shook me anxiously. Before I could get up, I suddenly felt something warm and soft pressed against my lips. Then, a warm breath entered my mouth, and I opened my eyes at once. What greeted me was Mu Yujun's soft, cute, and pretty face. When she saw me wake up, a joyful expression appeared on her face. Luo Tian, you're awake. Why did you kiss me? I looked at her with confusion. Artificial respiration, that's how they do it on TV. Mu Yujun's eyes were clear. All right then. I didn't pay it much mind. It was indeed how they did it on TV. Suddenly, Mu Yujun seemed to think of something, and her face turned pale. What's wrong? I asked. On TV, kissing makes you have a baby. Am I already pregnant with your baby? Hearing this, I thought about it, and it seemed to be true. I immediately hugged Mu Yujun. It's okay. I'll marry you in the future. We'll give our baby a home. You have to keep your word. Of course. That evening, I was rewarded with a sound beating of bamboo shoots stir-fried with pork. My dad was furious. Thankfully, there was a protective net. Otherwise, he would have lost his son in middle age. Soon, we arrived at the zoo. Not much had changed here. Some animals were added in. Some were gone. Mu Yujun and I wandered through the zoo, one after the other. She was in front, and I was behind. This was usually how we went out, with her leading and me just needing to accompany her. During that time, Mu Yujun fed more than a dozen kinds of animals, including giraffes, monkeys, and black bears. She smiled very happily. Seeing her happy, I couldn't help but smile myself. After wandering around, we came to the tiger enclosure. The staff said that the tiger that had scared me as a child was no longer there. They said it had reached its old age. I felt a little sentimental. I had wanted to see it again. Little Luozi, look over there. Mu Yujun's delicate hand pointed in a direction. I turned my head, and my expression instantly froze. There were 5 or 6 people busy over there, looking like they were setting up for some kind of event. What's wrong? Is there a problem? I asked. Mu Yujun looked at me with a half-smile. With all these balloons and flowers, could it be that someone is preparing to confess their love? I felt a little unnatural under Mu Yujun's gaze and could only force myself to remain calm. Who knows? Why are you so concerned about other people's business? I'm just curious. Curious about what? I asked. Curious about which dense guy would set up such an old-fashioned scene. A cunning glint flashed in Mu Yujun's eyes. My face darkened because the dense guy Mu Yujun was talking about was me. What if it's a girl confessing to a guy? I said in a low voice. Impossible, it must be a guy. Mu Yujun seemed to have an inexplicable confidence. In the end, I didn't argue with Mu Yujun anymore, because if I showed that I cared too much, she would definitely see through me. Old-fashioned? I'll find some time to change it later. Just looking without touching at the zoo has no soul. So I took Mu Yujun to the small animal area. This area was specially for raising animal cubs and also for tourists to pet and play with. Although it was a small zoo, it was not small in scale. Herbivores and carnivores were kept separate. Here you could touch little lions and little tigers. After all, they were just cubs and not very aggressive. The safety was much better than with adult animals. Mu Yujun's first choice was the red panda, which was chubby and extremely cute. Almost no girl can resist a panda. I, on the other hand, used my phone to take pictures of her as mementos. I don't have any special photography skills, so my first choice when buying a phone is one with a good camera. It's best if it can directly optimize the photos for me, the kind that doesn't need a second round of editing. Then, at Mu Yujun's strong request, a staff member took a photo of the two of us holding the red panda together. You two make a great couple. As we were leaving, the staff member said with a smile, All right, you've got good taste. I was secretly pleased. I looked at Mu Yujun's expression, but she didn't show any particular emotion. She probably didn't take that sentence to heart. Time always flies when you're having fun. Night fell quietly, and the two of us returned to the rented apartment. Then came another awkward scene. You sleep on the bed. I'll still sleep on the sofa, I said. Mu Yujun shook her head. You sleep on the bed today. We'll take turns, so no one loses out. I wanted to object, but I saw Mu Yujun lie down directly on the sofa, and she was half undressed, completely shutting down my idea of forcibly carrying her to the bed. I smiled helplessly. Being understood too well isn't always a good thing. I returned to my room, but didn't go to sleep right away. I've been keeping what Mu Yujun said during the day in mind. My plan for the confession was indeed very outdated. After all, it was my first time confessing, so I could only go by other people's experiences. To be honest, I was planning to just confess directly. We were so familiar with each other, I didn't think we'd care about such formalities. But then it occurred to me that girls are sentimental, and a more romantic approach would probably have a better effect. Whatever other people had, Mu Yujun had to have it too. Luo Tian, I'm going to take a shower. Don't come out. Mu Yujun's warning came from outside the door. I know, who want it anyway? At some point, Blueberry had jumped on my shoulder again. I was already used to its mysterious appearances. Blueberry, tell me, how should I confess? I held Blueberry in my arms, a melancholic look on my face. Meow. I was busy at the computer until midnight, modifying and deleting countless templates over and over. In the end, Blueberry even made trouble, jumping all over my keyboard and messing up the template I had just finished. I was about to get angry when I realized that with a few tweaks, the ruined template could look surprisingly good. Forgetting my anger, I quickly began editing, following the sudden burst of inspiration. Seeing everything developing as planned, Blueberry nodded in a human-like way. Then, as if hiding its great contribution, it curled up on my lap to rest. By the time I finished everything, it was already past 1 in the morning, and I quickly went to bed. I still have to cook tomorrow. Better get some rest. Since Mu Yujun was here now, I had started preparing breakfast for her. She could just heat it up after her shift. The next day, I forced myself out of bed, exhausted. Just as I was about to start cooking, I found that the rice cooker was already full of cooked rice. There were also dishes in the wok that were still warm. I knew without a doubt that Mu Yujun had made them, but she worked the night shift and didn't get off until 8 or 9 in the morning. How did she have time to cook? Where did you find the time to cook? I sent a message to Mu Yujun, but she didn't reply. She was probably busy. I didn't think much of it. 8 and went to work. 3:30 in the afternoon. When I returned to the rental apartment, I was surprised to see Mu Yujun. Did your company change your hours? Mu Yujun nodded faintly. Otherwise, how would you get to eat this lady's cooking? I nodded. It's my honor. So what are your work hours now? They're not fixed. As long as I work a full 8 hours a day, it's fine. I was stunned to hear that. A company like that exists? So flexible? Then we can commute to and from work together from now on, I said with a smile. Yeah, who do you think you are to be worthy of commuting with me? Mu Yujun said with a haughty look. All right. In that case, Miss Mu, perhaps you should think about our sleeping arrangements for the future. Having the same work schedule had its pros, but naturally, it also had its cons. For instance, the sleeping problem. We couldn't just keep taking turns sleeping on the bed, could we? The haughty expression on Mu Yujun's face vanished instantly, replaced by a frown. I quietly studied her. Even with a frown, Mu Yujun was still beautiful. How about we get a different apartment? A 2-bedroom place, I suggested when she remained silent for a long time. No. Mu Yujun's voice was a bit loud, which caught me off guard. What was with her? Did she insist on living in one room? Ahem, a 2-bedroom is a bit expensive. We should save some money, Mu Yujun said, realizing her outburst and making a clumsy excuse. I don't mind. I'm a grown man. I'm not afraid of what people might say. I'm not afraid either. And so, we didn't end up getting a new apartment. The days that followed were quite ordinary. We took turns cooking, and as for chores, there were basically no chores. Our situation was very much like that of a married couple. The only difference was perhaps the lack of intimacy between a man and a woman. Recently, I encountered something that was deeply unsettling the more I thought about it. Mu Yujun seemed to be getting to know me better and better, not in terms of personality or temper, but in terms of my daily life. My baking work requires me to constantly look down, so I have neck problems. Before long, Mu Yujun bought me a neck massager, and then one of my shirts got torn, and the very next day, she bought me a new one. Whenever I had something I needed to do, Mu Yujun was always one step ahead. She always seemed to notice immediately. I hadn't told anyone, so how could she possibly know? Could she have put a tracking device on me? Something's not right. Something is very, very not right. Are your home renovations still not done? I asked. What? Trying to kick me out. Mu Yujun looked displeased. A great beauty like me is living with you. And you're not happy about it? That's not it. It's just that it's been almost a month. Your construction crew is a bit too slow. What's it to you? It's not like I'm shorting you on rent. I smiled and said meaningfully, I'm just afraid that if you wait any longer, you won't be able to leave. Mu Yujun's eyes flashed with a hint of excitement, but her words remained sharp. You'd have to have the skill for that. Today was a day off, and my preparations were ready. Yujun, let's go. I heard there's an event at Huayan Mountain Zoo. We can ride elephants today. Really? Mu Yujun feigned excitement. Her hands clenched with a bit of nervousness. It's true. Would I lie to you? Okay, wait for me to get ready. You go first. Before I could reply, Mu Yujun pushed me out of the rental apartment. I scratched my head, a little puzzled. Usually, when I asked her to go out, she never bothered to get ready. Why was she acting so differently today? But it was fine. It was better for her to get ready to her own satisfaction, leaving no regrets. I arrived at the zoo first. Then I started looking for staff members to explain my plan and ask for their cooperation. I would compensate them afterward. With the promise of money, the staff members were naturally happy to help. An hour later, Mu Yujun arrived. The moment I saw her, I was stunned. The usual Mu Yujun wore no makeup. But today, not only was she wearing light makeup, but she had also put on high heels. A white shirt and a hip-hugging long skirt showed off her figure to perfection. What? Stunned. Mu Yujun was very pleased with my expression, and even her tone was much lighter. Very beautiful, I said with sincerity, coming back to my senses. Perhaps because she had never heard me speak with such sincerity, Mu Yujun's face turned visibly red. All right, take me to ride the elephants. Mu Yujun changed the subject. I held out a hand, and she understood, placing her hand in mine. I led her, step by step, towards the scene I had arranged. Today's Mu Yujun was very obedient, so much so that I suspected it was all a dream. Why are you so dressed up today? Of course, I have to look good when I go out. Not anymore. Only I'm allowed to see you like this. Okay. Soon, a simple but eye-catching confession scene appeared before us. Mu Yujun's eyes were dazed because the left side of the scene was filled with her photos. From childhood to adulthood, not a single stage was missing, and they were all beautiful pictures. On the right side were my photos, corresponding to Mu Yujun's at every age. My dear, falling in love with you. From that day on, upbeat music began to play as I led Mu Yujun onto the platform in the center of the scene. A zoo staff member quickly brought me a bouquet of roses. Holding the flowers, I looked at Mu Yujun with deep affection. If time were a book, I would want every page to be filled with your name, because you're the only chapter worth reading over and over again. I'm not good with sweet words, but I know that every second with you is the truest romance of my life. I offered the flowers to Mu Yujun and asked, Yujun, will you be my girlfriend? A mist formed in Mu Yujun's eyes. After so many years, she had finally received this man's confession. She composed herself and revealed a sweet smile. I will, but I don't like flowers. I smiled, plucked a flower from the bouquet, and dabbed it on Mu Yujun's face. A faint, creamy fragrance wafted into her nose. How could I not know what you like? You little glutton. Mu Yujun laughed, took the cream rose, and tasted it. It's so sweet. Not as sweet as you. Such a smooth talker. It's just the truth. Mu Yujun's gaze turned to me, her eyes gentle. Luo Tan, I have a surprise for you too. I looked stunned. What surprise? Mu Yujun took my hand and led me out of the Huayan Mountain Zoo. Guess how I got here just now? By taxi. I answered. Mu Yujun pointed to a car that had appeared at the zoo entrance at some point. It was very new, looking like it had just been bought. You bought a car. The shock in my eyes was uncontrollable. Mu Yujun nodded, then she put something in my hand. I looked down, it was a key. Now it's yours. Mu Yujun said with a smile. No, this is too valuable. I naturally refused with all my might. This car was clearly not cheap. Mu Yujun had likely spent all her savings to buy it. Take it. I bought this specifically for my boyfriend. If you don't want it, I'll give it to someone else. Mu Yujun's tone was forceful. Helplessly, I had no choice but to accept. As you command, my girlfriend. That's more like it. Mu Yujun beamed. Back home, Mu Yujun suddenly pushed me onto the bed. Her fiery lips sealed mine. Inexperienced, I was completely out of breath. But luckily, Mu Yujun wasn't very experienced either, and in a short while, she was lying beside me, panting. I held her in my arms and spoke softly. What's the rush? I'm not going to run away. I've been craving you for so long. You're so clumsy. You have no technique at all. Mu Yujun was a little exasperated. You want to talk? You just grabbed me and started mauling me. You call that skillful? You're being mean to me. I wasn't. Humph. If you dare be mean to me again, I'll make sure you can't get out of bed. Mu Yujun said, shaking her little fist. I wouldn't dare. I shook my head helplessly. Looking at Mu Yujun's beautiful face and rosy lips, I started to feel hot. Yujun? What? Mu Yujun tilted her head up. Want to try again? Mu Yujun's face turned red, and then she closed her eyes. I cupped her face and gently pressed my lips to hers. It was soft and slow, a sweet, lingering kiss. I had the day off today, but Mu Yujun didn't. Bored, I could only lie in bed and play video games to pass the time. In the afternoon, tired of gaming, I started scrolling through videos. Blueberry was a bit too clever. As soon as I swiped to a new video, she would immediately swipe it back. She wouldn't let me move on until she had finished watching. My video feed is usually related to gaming, but it's inevitable that the algorithm pushes videos of beautiful women. Most of them aren't as pretty as Mu Yujun, so I just swipe past. However, when I come across some dance videos, I'll watch for a little while. No ulterior motives, just simple appreciation. Scrolling through videos while petting my cat. It couldn't be more relaxing. However, while I was content, Blueberry on my lap was not. This damn man, looking at other women right in front of me, and he still has the nerve to pet me. Despicable. Luo Tian, don't touch my head. The moment the words were out, not only was I stunned, but Blueberry froze as well. I lower my head, my eyes filled with disbelief. Blueberry, was that you who just spoke? Blueberry covered her mouth in a very human-like gesture and shook her head frantically. My gaze sharpened. Yujun, is that you? Blueberry promptly flopped onto the bed and played dead. If you don't say anything, I'm going to check for myself. I grabbed Blueberry and went to look at her behind. Blueberry panicked and immediately cried out for mercy. Babe, I was wrong. Hearing this, I fell silent. Everything that was happening was too absurd. My fragrant, soft girlfriend was actually a cat? Babe, what's wrong? Did I scare you? The cat patted me with a little paw. You're Yujun. I still found it hard to believe. That's right, genuine and guaranteed. Then change back. And no, I can't. At least not right now. Blueberry shook her head. Why not? I asked, confused. I just can't, that's why. All right, just leave me for now. I need to be alone, I said, my head aching. The scene before me was too ridiculous. I needed some time to process it. But Mu Yujun didn't see it that way. She thought I was angry. Babe, don't be angry. I'll change back right now. As she finished speaking, there was a flash of blue light, and Mu Yujun appeared before me, completely naked. Holy shit! I jumped in surprise, my eyes immediately captivated by the seductive sight. Mu Yujun's face was beet red as she snatched the blanket from me to cover her body. Now, do you believe me? I nodded dumbly, my mind still filled with the image of her snow-white body. It took me several days to finally accept the fact that Mu Yujun could turn into a cat. No wonder I'd felt like I was being watched all that time. It was Mu Yujun who had transformed into Blueberry to keep an eye on me. Mu Yujun explained that her mother was a cat spirit, which is why she could also turn into a cat. I never expected something as absurd as animal spirits to actually exist. But after some thought, I felt a sense of relief. It's a wide world, full of strange and wonderful things. I was just a mayfly in this world. There were plenty of things I had yet to see. So, you've been deceiving me all this time. Following me from the start was all premeditated, I said quietly. Mu Yujun gave an embarrassed smile. Didn't I already tell you? I've been craving you for a long time. Fine. So that's how you want to play, is it? I swept Mu Yujun up into my arms, my heated gaze filled with aggression. What are you doing? Mu Yujun stammered, not daring to meet my gaze. Haven't you been craving me for a long time? Today, I'm going to let you have your fill. With that, I carried Mu Yujun and walked toward the room. Ahem, babe, I think we can still discuss this. Discuss what? Can I be the one in charge? Mu Yujun asked, her eyes hopeful. I smiled. Of course. Nah. The light in Mu Yujun's bright eyes instantly dimmed. What followed is not suitable for younger audiences, so we'll skip it. The next day, I opened my eyes exhausted. Last night had been too intense. If not for my good stamina, I might not have been able to subdue Mu Yujun. Looking at the beautiful woman lying beside me, I smiled in satisfaction. Holding her, I kissed Mu Yujun's cheek. No, no, baby, I was wrong. Mu Yujun woke up at the start, begging for mercy repeatedly. My face darkened. Am I that scary? Ah, Bubizawaka. The weather is really nice today. Mu Yujun smiled awkwardly yet politely. I haven't even opened the curtains yet. Mu Yujun's smile froze, and then she nestled into my arms, acting cute like crazy. Baby, don't be angry anymore. I really know I was wrong. I'm not that petty. I patted Mu Yujun's back comfortingly. After lying there for a while, my body started to feel hot. After all, neither of us was wearing anything. As a normal man, I would definitely have a reaction. Yujun, do you have the habit of exercising in the morning? My voice was a little hoarse. Don't you know me? It's good enough if I don't sleep in. Mu Yujun didn't seem to notice my abnormality. All right then, from now on we have to be self-disciplined in the morning and exercise regularly. Before Mu Yujun could protest, I turned over and pressed her underneath me. Only then did she understand that my exercise was this kind of exercise. But it was too late to understand now. The room was filled with the breath of spring, and everything else was thrown to the back of our minds. 2 years later, Yujun and I got married. I didn't work anymore because Yujun's mother's wealth was enough for us to spend for 10 lifetimes. Her mother had no other request, just that we have more children for her to play with. That's right, for her to play with. I could only tell her that I would do my best, while Yujun was so shy that she didn't dare to interrupt. Soon, after my hard work, Yujun was pregnant. During this period, both families were extremely busy, afraid that something would happen to Yujun. When it was time to give birth, Yujun's mother used some unknown method. Yujun gave birth to our child almost painlessly. Of course, I was happy. Giving birth is very painful, and what made me happiest was that Yujun could give birth without much pain. After the child was born, we directly threw him to Yujun's mother. And Yujun and I, of course, went on our honeymoon trip. We can't just stay in one city in our prime. Going out more, walking around, and playing is the life that young people should have. Let life have no regrets, and let life be colorful.